A new president and a new era. Donald Trump sworn into office.
The office of President of the United States.
From celebrations to protests turned violent.
No KKK, no fascist USA!
Fox 45 News at 10 starts with live team coverage of the 45th presidential inauguration.
And we began with a live look at the salute to our armed services ball. This is a ball open to everyone who has served in the armed services. And since 1809, the inaugural balls have been an opportunity for Americans from every corner of the country to visit D.C. and honor the newly sworn-in president.
Yeah, Joy, 3 balls were actually taking place tonight. I believe the Armed Services Ball, the Liberty Ball, the Freedom Ball, and we know the first couple was expected to attend at least those 3 balls. If they were going to attend any additional balls, I'm sure it would have been a benefit and a surprise for those in attendance of those balls tonight, but those are the primary 3 they were expected to attend. Donald Trump is expected to arrive here at the Armed Services Ball at any moment.
Right. And Trump has already taken several actions as president of the United States. He signed documents making his cabinet nominations official.
Trump signed legislation that would allow General James Mattis to serve as Defense Secretary. Vice President Mike Pence swore in Mattis, and General John Kelly will lead the Department of Homeland Security. Trump also signed a proclamation for a National Day of Patriotism.
And as far as policy moves, the president said he was suspending an interest rate cut for mortgage insurance. Trump also signed an executive order commanding agencies to ease the burden of the Affordable Care Act. And we have live team coverage of all the events this evening and what happened earlier in the day.
Tonight we begin with Keith Daniels, who's live in Washington, D.C. Keith?
Well, Kyle, we're live at Massachusetts Avenue at 10th Street. Still police presence here at this hour, but nothing like what we saw earlier this evening. The demonstrations, they say, seem to be under control, kind of dicey in this area earlier, but peaceful at this hour. Now, many of the demonstrators we talked to say they're protesting for many reasons, including concerns over the environment and immigration and the new president himself. At the corner of L Street and K Street in Washington, D.C., dozens of inauguration protesters, many of them dressed in black, arrested by police. Each one pulled from the group, then put in a transport van for the trip to jail.
39 seconds, but then after that, you're detained again.
Ben, who's yelling from across the street to fellow demonstrators, avoided arrest.
I was with the group when they first got hit, and what happened was, pretty much all of us got maced. I was lucky. I had enough of a mask and enough covering my eyes that, I'm just getting some burns every now and again.
We are the people!
Earlier in the day, protesters clashed with police just blocks away from the parade route where President Trump passed. Demonstrators threw rocks and bricks at police, set vehicles on fire, and burned trash cans. The Metropolitan Police used flashbangs and pepper spray to control and disperse the crowd. Police say more than 200 people arrested, accused of rioting.
I think it's immature, and it shouldn't be done. There's a way to do it, and there's a way to not. Everyone's only going to talk about this garbage now, instead of the people who are actually just trying to voice their opinion.
A lot of them were just protesting, and I hope that when they are taken to the police, when they're taken in by the police, those police say, okay, we detained you long enough, we can see you were just protesters, and you're free to go. I'm hoping that that's the end case scenario, because there's no doubt the majority of those people were doing something we all have a constitutional right to do, which is protest.
We're back here live now. 6 police officers were hurt, 3 of them hit in the head by flying objects. Minor injuries, they're okay. Meantime, D.C.'s police chief says he's working with his federal partners tonight. They're monitoring what he describes as a small group. They're monitoring that group, but he says he does not expect any trouble overnight. We're live now in Washington, D.C. Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Keith, thank you. Nice to see that things have calmed down a bit there. Washington, D.C. was the center of the protest today, but people did take to the streets in other cities. On the left, we're going to see Boston. Demonstrators gathered at Dewey Square to fight back against President Donald Trump's policies, eventually making their way to a large rally at Boston Commons. In the middle, video out of Denver, Colorado. Marchers took to the streets in the middle of the city. Officers were seen there closing off streets, and then on the right, anti-Trump protests in San Francisco, blocking intersections and streets. San Francisco police gave the protesters some space to do their protest. Over on the Golden Gate Bridge, protesters had planned to link arms and form a human chain. Now, earlier in the day, 35 words officially made Donald Trump president of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Chief Justice John Roberts administering the oath just before noon today. During his inauguration speech, President Trump said there will now be a new focus on America.
We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
Trump concluded his first address as president with a familiar refrain from the campaign trail.
We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power.
And we'll take a closer look at Trump at the inaugural address and what it means for his supporters tonight at 10:30.
Shortly after the inauguration, the public celebration began.
Senator Griffith from Detroit, Michigan, representing the
Bands and organizations from around the country marched past the White House this afternoon. Groups included military bands, the Indianapolis Police, and the Girl Scouts of America. The new first couple and their son Barron got out of the presidential limousine and walked for several minutes along the parade route. President Jimmy Carter started that tradition back in 1976. And in what may be a first, here's a view from a tractor that was in the parade. You can see it going by the viewing stand where the first family was watching. That tractor, by the way, was part of the Rural Tractor Brigade. And here's our question of the day. How optimistic are you about the future of the country? Join the discussion right now. Go to facebook.com/FoxBaltimore or our website, foxbaltimore.com.
One of President Trump's promises was to repeal and replace Obamacare. Republican Andy Harris of Maryland's 1st District talked about the process of transitioning away from the Affordable Care Act.
Unraveling that is going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of thought. We believe that if we do things like allow purchases across state lines, we open up the market to competition. We don't mandate that you buy a federal government approved policy, but that maybe your state can approve policies. We think all these things will bring down the cost. When you bring down the cost, we make it more affordable. And then when we remove the federal mandate to buy insurance, that people will buy insurance because it's once again it's affordable.
And Donald Trump has just arrived at the Armed Services Ball. He is speaking now. Let's take a listen.
We weren't given a great chance, but we knew we were going to win. And, you know, it took 2 weeks before we went to #1. Not a long time. And the first week was composed, in terms of the phony polls, was composed of 2 days. So we were at #1, and we stayed there the entire route during the primaries. And then, boy, did I work. Those last 4 weeks, I worked. Oh, yeah. That was some job. We did a good job together. And I'll tell you what, many of the people in this room went to those rallies with us, right? They went to those rallies. I saw one person on television tonight, incredible family, her and her husband. She said, we've gone to 42 Trump rallies. I said, 42? 42? But we did. We had a lot of people that went to a lot of the rallies, and it showed up. And, you know, when we went in, I really felt that last week in particular, I said, how are we going to lose? How can we lose? It's just too much. There has never been a movement like this anywhere in the world. There's never been anything like this. So I am so looking forward. I just left, actually, the Oval Office because our great General Mad Dog Mattis was approved tonight. The Senate approved. He was first. And I went to sign, and Mike Pence, who's coming out in a second, signed. You saw what happened, right? He just swore him in. And General Kelly, the border. Oh, the border. We're going to have a border again. And he was approved.
Donald Trump speaking right now at the Armed Services Ball with First Lady Melania Trump talking about the confirmation of General Mattis tonight as Secretary of Defense. More on that coming up later in our newscast. In the meantime, we're going to check in with meteorologist Amy Aronson for a look at our weather this weekend. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Kai. Yes, soggy again by Sunday, although our latest storm is now long gone. The mist, the fog remains at this hour, but a quick trip westward shows where our next storm is, sending some heavy rain and mountain snow to now parts of California and Arizona, and this is going to bring us that chance for rain by the end of the weekend. 1 to 2 inches of rain in some locations, so yes, we are looking at the potential for some downpours and also some gusty winds, especially late Sunday through Monday, and it's now looking more likely that coastal flooding will also be a concern. Coming up in 10 minutes, I'll show you when we will see some dry weather over the weekend. Joy, Kai.
All right, thank you very much. Amy, you can access all the information when severe weather hits right on your mobile phone. Download the Fox 45 weather app, search for WBFF in your app store.
And again, we have a live look at the Armed Services Ball in Washington, D.C. President Donald Trump just speaking there. And we'll take you back to Washington, D.C. live in a couple minutes on Fox 45 News at 10.
The rescue efforts in Italy, how people survived after being buried in an avalanche. Later on Fox 45 News at 10.
The inauguration celebration continues in Washington, D.C. tonight. Here is a live look right now at the Armed Services Ball, where you can see the first and second families having their first dance tonight after the inauguration. We just heard Donald Trump speak for the first time there at the ball, and it's going to be a long night. He has several other balls that they're expected to attend tonight. Now we will take you back to the celebrations live throughout the newscast. Now, the party is part of a very busy day in the nation's capital. Protesters tried to make their voices heard throughout the day. Annalisa Gale from our sister station in Washington, D.C. continues our team coverage live. Now, Annalisa, how's the situation looking right now?
Well, at this time, this intersection near Franklin Square just reopened just before 9 p.m. Earlier, there were protesters sitting in the middle of the street blocking this area, so no cars were able to get through here. But right now, things are looking pretty good. If you look over here, there's only a small group, mostly having a lively discussion. Some Trump supporters and some protesters just talking about the differences in opinions. Earlier today, though, if a block away at 13th and K, it was a different situation. There was a limo that was set on fire. Also, we saw pictures of a Starbucks that was vandalized. The windows were broken. Also, I-695, there were protesters sitting in the middle of the street there, blocking all lanes, causing some delays. So there were protests throughout the city. The city officials estimate that there were more than 200 arrests across the city tonight, and actually a group known as Disrupt J20 that tried to disrupt the festivities today. They announced tonight that they had about 120 of their protesters that were arrested, and they expect that they will be arraigned tomorrow. I'll send it back to you guys.
And Annalisa, any fear about tonight, if there's going to be any more protests throughout the evening?
Well, right now, things are looking very calm. The chief was actually out here in this exact spot near Franklin Square, because this is where most of the lively protests were happening. From the looks of it, I think everything in this area has died down, and this has been where the protesters have been gathering. So I don't think we're going to expect much more activity than this tonight, but if we do have anything, we'll definitely let you know.
Annalisa, thank you so much from our sister station in Washington, D.C. tonight.
In Maryland's capital today, many of the state's lawmakers were in D.C. for President Trump's inauguration. And the state's Republican lawmakers say this presidency is a chance for Donald Trump to restore trust within the government, tossing out what they call the fake politics.
Well, certainly Americans are tired of sort of the phony baloney politics, and Trump is without a doubt not typical as a politician and disavows political correctness at every opportunity, which is apparent. So, you know, it's an opportunity for change.
Chief political correspondent Scott Thuman gives us a look now at one of the biggest reasons President Donald Trump made it to this point and how that responsibility will carry over into his much anticipated agenda.
Whether it was met with elation or a clear opposite,
Not my president!
For many, it's a moment few would have predicted just 1 year ago. A man who'd never run for office in his life, now holding the highest one.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
The path here may have seemed improbable, but the former reality show star and businessman knew his audience, and his catchphrase resonated in a way little else could.
You came by the tens of millions to become part of a historic movement, the likes of which the world has never seen before.
Middle America was not just ready for, but demanded a departure from traditional Washington, and then candidate Donald Trump delivered.
The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer.
Whether they're sheet metal workers, union painters, and they just felt left behind by the Democratic Party. And so when Trump came around, it was a clear choice.
Especially in Illinois, because our state has been completely so run down by both Democrats and Republicans.
Concerns that carried over into votes. He dominated among working class whites and swept states across the Rust Belt.
I think he reaches out to the American people. I think we're struggling, and I think that's what he's all about.
Instead of sending all our money overseas and working on, you know, bringing 500,000 refugees here and things like that. That's just my opinion, and I know a lot of my friends feel the same way.
For those who don't, it fostered division, a national split. But one a new president, Trump and supporters are vowing to mend.
We're here in support of, you know, unity, whatever it takes to get it together. The country is in an uproar, and we need to fix it. And we're hopeful for the future.
President Trump knows who got him here, and he spent much of his speech reassuring them that he will deliver on those campaign promises, saying, mountain to mountain, ocean to ocean, you will never be ignored again. On Capitol Hill, I'm Scott Thuman.
And stay right here. In 10 minutes, we'll take you back to Washington, D.C. live and take a closer look at what supporters and opponents may be able to figure out from Trump's inauguration address. Later on Fox 45 News at 10.
Right now, time for a check of our weather with meteorologist Amy Aronson. Amy?
Yeah, in wake of today's storm, still gray and gloomy at this hour. The clouds are hanging around along with the mist and some fog too. And the same temperatures we've experienced pretty much all day. So temperatures haven't changed a whole lot. Mid-40s right now here in Baltimore, upper 40s in D.C. And we're not looking at much of a cool down even as the night goes on. Maybe we'll drop a couple of degrees with those clouds in place, the fog in place too, but not much of a cool down for us tonight through tomorrow morning. Now Saturday features more clouds than sun, very limited sunshine for the start of your weekend. But despite that lack of sunshine, temperatures will still manage to climb out of the 40s and back into the 50s. I think we end the day in the mid-50s, and it looks like our next shot at rain is going to hold off until late Saturday. But that next chance of rain sends us the chance for some potentially heavy rain. So coming up in 15 minutes, I've got the full scoop on Sunday's storm and what it means for the end of your weekend. Joy, Kai?
Amy, thank you. A wintry rescue in Italy, the amazing way people survived an avalanche. Next on Fox 45 News at 10.
He was running a marathon, then dropped dead. The life-saving bit of good luck when the News at 10 continues. Welcome back. You're watching Fox 45 News at 10. This is a live look at the Armed Services Ball in Washington, D.C., one of many balls taking place. President Trump and the First Family were there. Vice President Mike Pence was also there. You're looking at a live performance, a very patriotic event, one of the themes that President Trump expressed today in his inaugural speech.
And meanwhile, protesters took to the streets this afternoon. Keith Daniels has been following the situation there, and he'll show us what that situation is in just 5 minutes on Fox 45 News at 10 o'clock. At least 10 people have been found alive after an avalanche that crushed a hotel in central Italy. Cheers of joy as rescuers escort survivors from the buried hotel. An avalanche dumped more than 16 feet of snow on the ski resort Wednesday, trapping about 30 people inside. Despite the hotel being buried, emergency crews describe how people trapped inside survived.
There was an area with air and they managed to breathe. The snow also prevented them from suffering from hypothermia. It's something that they were at risk of.
It's still unclear what triggered the deadly avalanche, but hours earlier, 4 earthquakes had struck central Italy.
A Houston man almost dies while running a marathon, but a complete stranger saves his life. Rand Mincer fell just before the 15-mile mark and was in full cardiac arrest. Stephanie Basie, a registered nurse from College Station, was on the sideline cheering on her husband, who was also running. She saw Rand and went to help.
I wasn't feeling well, so I went over and I threw up. I started running again, and I felt very lightheaded, and it's almost kind of like things kind of became blurry.
I, was able to jump in right away, which was fortunate.
Apparently, I was dead for about 8 minutes.
Wow. Stephanie performed 10 rounds of CPR on Rand until workers from a nearby assisted living facility brought over a defibrillator. They got a pulse back by the time an ambulance arrived.
A live look now at the celebrations in Washington, D.C. tonight. We'll take you back there live in 3 minutes on Fox 45 News at 10.
And fog is bringing down our visibilities tonight. Find out when the rain returns and how much rain to expect in 10 minutes on Fox 45 News at 10.
This is Fox 45 News at 10, and here's a live look at Washington, D.C., the Freedom Ball. The first family was here earlier tonight. And again, a lot of pomp and circumstance on this night. The 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump, was inaugurated earlier today. Now, the parties are just part of the story. Protesters also took to the streets as the new president took office. Keith Daniels continues our team coverage live from Washington, D.C. So, Keith, bring us up to date on where things stand in D.C. now in regards to the protesters.
Okay, well, Kai, we've moved up here to L Street at 11th Street. Still lots of police presence on this block. Earlier this evening, hundreds of people on the other side of the block arrested. But take a look over here. So calm now. Police officers able to take a break. Now, D.C.'s police chief Peter Newsham says he doesn't believe anybody involved in these violent protests today live in the district. He says there was a small group intent on coming to the district to cause some disruption. Now, police arrested again more than 200 people. Demonstrators threw rocks and bricks at police, set vehicles and trash cans on fire. Those accused of rioting were detained before being put in police transport vans for a trip to jail. Now, police say they're responsible for the violence and vandalism that disrupted the peaceful protests.
I think it's immature, and it shouldn't be done. There's a way to do it, and there's a way to not. Everyone's only going to talk about this garbage now, instead of the people who are actually just trying to voice their opinion.
A lot of them were just protesting, and I hope that when they are taken to the police, when they're taken in by the police, those police say, like, okay, we detained you long enough, we can see you were just protesters, and you're free to go. I'm hoping that that's the end case scenario, because there's no doubt the majority of those people were doing something we all have a constitutional right to do, which is protest.
Well, we are back here live again. We're all calm enough for police again to take a break. Now, the police chief says those arrested will be presented in court tomorrow. Meantime, police say they expect a peaceful night. We're live now in Washington, D.C. Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Keith, thank you. Every inauguration, there is one sole member of the White House cabinet who's marked as a designated survivor, the one person who was pulled from major events like the inauguration in case a disaster were to strike. This year, current Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson was the designated survivor. If a disaster were to strike, Johnson would take over as president. His successor, retired Marine General John Kelly, has not yet been confirmed by the Senate.
And as Donald Trump began settling inside of the White House to begin tenure as president, outgoing President Barack Obama addressed the public after landing at Joint Base Andrews in Prince George's County, taking the time to reminding Americans what democracy is all about.
Our democracy is not the buildings. It's not the monuments. It's you being willing to work to make things better and being willing to listen to each other and argue with each other and come together and knock on doors and make phone calls and treat people with respect. And that doesn't end. This is just a little pit stop. This is not a period, this is a comma in the continuing story of building America.
Former Vice President Joe Biden took his traditional transportation out of town. He got on the 1 p.m. Acela train to Delaware, riding out of town on Amtrak, where Biden and his wife Jill were welcomed by a large group of supporters in Wilmington. Well, he told that group, even though he disagreed with the incoming administration, opponents need to give him a chance.
I am more optimistic, my word this now. I am more optimistic about the possibilities for America than I ever have been. We are better positioned than any country in the world.
And good news coming out of Texas. Former President George H.W. Bush and former First Lady Barbara seem to be improving in their health. The family spokesperson said doctors have removed President Bush's breathing tube, and he is now breathing on his own with minimal supplemental oxygen. Wife Barbara is feeling better as well. She and George watched the inauguration coverage together at Houston Methodist Hospital.
Well, there's 6 more minutes of this interview online. You can see it by going to foxbaltimore.com.
This is Tom Rogers interviewing a professor from Towson University regarding the inauguration speech today.
Donald Trump is now sworn in as the 45th President of the United States. And joining us now to break down his first speech as Commander-in-Chief, Political Communication, Dr. Richard E. Vatz. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
It was a 16, 17-minute speech right there. Did he make America great again in that speech?
Well, I don't think he made America great again in the speech. He promised to make America great again. I mean, he used the very slogan that he used in the campaign in his inaugural, and that's kind of unusual. But I thought it was a powerful inaugural. There are some concerns that anybody should have watching this inaugural, but he certainly doesn't have any self-doubt.
At one point, sitting on the stage with him, former President Barack Obama was sitting there, and also Clinton and Bush. And he made one comment there when he says, "We will defend our nation's borders. We've been defending other nations' borders more than we've been defending our own," refusing to defend our own right there. Immediate jab at Obama and previous presidents?
I think that immigration has been a major concern of his, and he's been criticized. And what he said is that if we have illegal immigrants who are committing crimes, this is admittedly a final position, not all of his previous positions were like this. He says we're going to prosecute these people and we're going to send them back. I don't think that it means that people who are here who are not committing crimes have anything to worry about. But that may not reassure them. But I think that is his point. So his major concern is America, America first. But again, what's left unsaid is what this means about policies that involve other countries and how we're going to deal with that. Are we going to be a reliable ally? Are we going to be a reliable member of NATO? I think these questions remain, and if you heard the speech, you didn't hear any answers to these.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. You didn't hear the answers. Will we get those answers in action? Do you really believe that, listening to that 16 and a half minutes, do you really think that Donald J. Trump is going to show us some actions?
I think he's going to show some actions in some specific ways. I think he's going to make sure that ISIS learns that we are a serious country that doesn't take it easily when our citizens are assassinated. And I think But if he limits himself to that, and he doesn't realize that the United States has very significant economic and military interests around the globe, and particularly in the Middle East, I think that's a problem. On the other hand, he has assigned some of his top people to try to ensure that we can get a peace in the Middle East. And he says that as the world's #1 negotiator, he is going to make that happen. Sometimes you can overpromise, and I think if people look after 4 years, they're not going to find that he's been successful in all of these promises. But if he makes some headway, I think he can win over a large portion of the United States citizenry.
Do you think, though, that the United States really thinks that he is going to deliver on all of his promises, or do you think most people are like, you know what, politicians do this all the time. He's not a politician. He may get some of it, and we'll take that over what we have had.
I think that people who oppose him will hold his feet to the fire for each and every promise he made. I think that those who support him blindly will be able to be happy if he simply makes some inroads on some of these promises. But I think it's a very dangerous thing to overpromise considerably, and that was a little bit of a problem in the speech. But I thought the speech was a rousing speech, and he's going to have some headway. He's not going to find that he's going to have the honeymoon period of 9 months that many presidents have, because it's already ended.
Well, there's 6 more minutes of this interview online. You can see it by going to foxbaltimore.com/raw news.
And now that the inauguration is over, we can focus on weekend weather.
Yes.
Right? So let's get to meteorologist Amy Aronson for a look at that. Amy.
Yeah, and if you have outdoor plans, you're going to want to pay attention, because we do have some changes by the end of the weekend involving a new storm. But right now, we are stuck under this fog. The low clouds making it tough to see Towson as we head through your Friday night. Visibilities are way down, but temperatures haven't changed a whole lot. We spent a majority of the day in the 40s, and that's where we're at right now, 45 degrees. And with the clouds in place, temperatures won't be cooling a whole lot as we head through the rest of your night. Now, satellite radar really doesn't pick up on these clouds because they are so close to the ground, so things actually look fairly empty tonight in wake of our latest storm. And we're actually in between systems right now. You have to fly way west to find our next storm. That's currently bringing some heavy rain, some mountain snow to parts of California and Arizona. And this is going to travel our direction by the end of the weekend and bring us our next shot at some soaking rain. But before that gets here, high pressure actually builds in from the north, and that moisture approaches from the south, and we begin your weekend under cloudy skies. So it's really tough for us to break out of those clouds tomorrow. Limited sunshine for the start of your weekend, and then it looks like we'll see the first showers again by late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. This is just the first wave in several waves of rain headed our direction late this weekend through early next week. So this is a slow-moving storm because we do have high pressure to our north. The storm doesn't move much. It takes its sweet old time moving through. So that means more showers likely, especially late Sunday through early Monday. That's when we actually have that potential for some pretty heavy rain. And some locations could end up with 2+ inches of rain. Here's a look at one forecast model's take on how much rain we're expecting. You'll notice those rainfall totals climb, especially Sunday night through Monday, with most locations picking up at least an inch of rain. But remember, it's over a long period of time, so I think flooding concerns will remain at a minimum. For the rest of tonight, overcast with that patchy fog and that drizzle, that mist not going anywhere, with temperatures eventually cooling back into the upper 30s. We'll start your Saturday off with cloudy skies. Some drizzle is possible, but I think our next chance of rain holds off until darkness settles in on Saturday. It's still going to be mild with highs climbing into the mid-50s. And then the rain makes a real comeback on Sunday. Soaking rain late Sunday through early Monday, and those winds will be picking up too. We could actually see gusts between 30 and 40 miles an hour, especially during the day on Monday when temperatures back off into the upper 40s. Showers will linger through early Tuesday, but after that we'll begin the drying process with highs staying in the low 50s for a couple more days. Wednesday and Thursday look great and mild too, low 50s both of those days, and then by Friday some cooler air tries to push in and we bring highs back into the mid 40s. In 10 minutes we'll take one more look at your weekend forecast and another look at the timing of the rain on Sunday. Joy, Kai.
Amy, thank you. Mexican drug lord El Chapo in the U.S. What happened during his court appearance in New York today?
And dealing with the shortage of police officers in Baltimore City. Mayor Catherine Pugh's new plan. We have breaking news from Baltimore City Police. Police tell us that they have arrested a man responsible for stealing a car with 2 children inside last night in Southeast Baltimore. Fox 45 brought you this story last night. Those 2 young children were found safe a short time later, less than a half mile from where that car was taken. The suspect has been identified as John Bowling, who police describe as a repeat offender.
At least 50 people are without homes tonight after fire races through a Randallstown apartment building. Many of those residents just narrowly escaped with their lives. Investigators believe the fire started in a 3rd-story apartment.
When they arrived, they had heavy fire conditions on the 3rd floor of the apartment building. Crews were able to go to work initially and get a pretty good knock on the fire, but it had extended in the time that they had initially arrived over into a 2nd building. So there are currently 2 buildings that are affected by this fire.
Fortunately, everyone made it out safely and no one was injured. Officials are investigating what caused that fire.
New tonight, big news. In fact, Baltimore County has scrapped plans to build a truck maintenance center at the Agricultural Center off Shawan Road in Oregon Ridge. Now, this comes after a contentious and heated public hearing and strong community opposition to that plan. The county says it has now decided to maintain the equipment at existing county public works sites.
One immediate local consequence of the new Trump administration concerns the Baltimore City Police Department's consent decree with the Department of Justice. A meeting that was scheduled for next week with justice officials has now been put on hold, presumably until sometime next month. We're told that's to give time for the new Trump Justice Department officials time to familiarize themselves with the details of the decree. And 2 weeks ago, Baltimore's police commissioner alerted the mayor about a dire shortage of police officers. Tonight, the mayor is responding. Jeff Abel shows us why she's giving the green light to hire 100 new officers.
In Baltimore, it appears the mean streets are growing meaner. Already in the first 20 days of the year, the number of shootings are up 30% from the same time period last year.
We definitely need to do something, and we need to do it fast.
Earlier this month, the police commissioner acknowledged his force has lost hundreds of officers compared to the size of the force 5 years ago.
Frankly, we're still recovering from the impact of attrition that occurred back in 2015.
After learning of the city's shrinking police force, the mayor has now given the green light for the hiring of 100 new police officers. The mayor has now authorized this department to unfreeze 100 new positions. However, the estimated $3 million it'll cost to hire the officers must still come out of the department's existing budget.
We don't have enough police officers who live in our city, and so I want to say this to all of Baltimore. We're hiring. We need people from Baltimore to step up to the plate.
The department hopes to fill the openings by the end of the year, but because of lagging recruitment efforts, union leaders predict it'll take much longer. Meanwhile, at least one Annapolis lawmaker says the city can't afford to wait.
Everybody wants a safe neighborhood. Everybody wants to live harmoniously. I think that's what the mayor wants to do. I think that's why she's looking at every avenue she can to make sure that the citizens of Baltimore is safe.
Jeff Abel, Fox 45 News.
Convicted Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman made his first appearance in U.S. federal court today. The trafficker was extradited from Mexico Thursday and arrived in New York late in the evening. He pled not guilty to the 17-count indictment against him.
Over the course of decades, Guzman's destructive and murderous rise as an international narcotics trafficker is akin to that of a small cancerous tumor that metastasized and grew into a full-blown scourge.
He's about to face American justice in a city that's foundation is bedrock. I assure you, no tunnel will be built leading to his bathroom.
Well, that's a reference to the infamous escape tunnel that Guzman apparently used to escape a Mexican prison back in 2015. The charges against Guzman carry a minimum sentence of life in prison. President Donald Trump has vowed to crack down on so-called sanctuary cities that shield illegal immigrants, including many criminals. That's a debate that's raging across the country. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE as it's known, has identified about 300 sanctuary jurisdictions that have varying policies of non-cooperation. They include 4 entire states: California, Connecticut, New Mexico, and Colorado, in cities and counties in 25 other states and Washington, D.C. In less than 2 years, sanctuary jurisdictions rejected more than 21,000 written requests from Immigration and Customs Enforcement to detain illegal immigrants for possible deportation.
You shall not communicate any information regarding the immigration status of someone who's in your custody with federal law enforcement officials. And I think that is wrong. I think it endangers public safety. I think it endangers our law enforcement officers. And it's just short-sighted.
It is our policy in general that Baltimore County police officers do not ask the immigration status of anyone that they encounter. That's not their job.
President Donald Trump has promised within his first 100 days in office to pull federal funding from cities with sanctuary policies. Now, the showdown over sanctuary cities is the cover story this week on Full Measure with Cheryl Atkinson.
And it looks like we're going to have to make some other plans if you had any outdoor plans this weekend.
Yeah, let's get the gory details of meteorologist Amy Harris and Amy.
You're not sugarcoating it tonight. Yeah, we do have some more rain headed our direction over the weekend, but it's not until Sunday. So I think Saturday outdoor plans should still be a go. That's as today's storm moves far away from us. We do catch a break in between systems. Now it's going to be cloudy tomorrow, not a whole lot of sunshine, but it will be mild too, with high temperatures climbing into the mid-50s. But then here comes our next storm. And this storm is a slow mover with high pressure to the north. It takes its sweet old time moving through our area. That means showers will be ongoing now late Sunday through Monday, and that's when we also have the potential for some pretty heavy rain and also some high winds. So we are tracking a significant coastal storm here, and that's going to be late Sunday through Monday. So here's what that means for your weekend forecast. Overcast on Saturday with some drizzle possible, but highs still climb into the mid-50s. The bulk of the rain holds off until late Saturday and through a majority of the day on Sunday. On and off showers on Sunday with that heavy stuff, the heavy rain moving in Sunday night through Monday. But despite the clouds and the rain on Sunday, temperatures will stay up well above normal, with those highs still climbing into the mid-50s. But remember, Monday's going to be a wet day too, and that's when we're also going to be watching out for those very strong winds. Joy, Kai.
A promising career cut short. Why Ravens linebacker Zach Orr is removing himself from the Ravens and the NFL. That's next in Sports Unlimited.
And coming up in just 10 minutes on the late edition, the first couple celebrates the parties after the inauguration of Donald Trump. And more on what former President Obama said to his staff before he left Washington.
Is a NFL story you root for. Undrafted in 2014 to starting inside linebacker in 2016, leading the Ravens in tackles. A great person on and off the field, a talent on the rise, and just like that, the game is taken away from him. Orr retired at the age of 24 after 3 years in the league due to a neck and spine condition Orr was born with. It was not spotted until the Ravens season ended, and doctors suggested they get a better look at his Week 16 neck injury with a CT scan. A scan that Orr says saved him from serious spinal injury, maybe even death.
I look at it as a blessing that, you know, the Lord blessed me to play football this long. Like I said, I've been playing 15 years. I started playing football when I was 9, and, you know, I'm just blessed that he allowed me to, you know, play the great game of football, allowed me to get a taste of it, and, you know, for this long without anything happening.
The decision hard enough for Orr. Also for the Ravens, they lose a great character guy and player. Now the Ravens need another starting inside linebacker opposite C.J. Mosley, who looks up to Orr's journey to the NFL.
As a friend and as a player, you know, the thing he was able to accomplish, you know, starting from the bottom as a rookie, then being the second-team All-Pro, you know, to end his career. So, you know, it's definitely sad not to see him accomplish way more goals and, you know, show his true potential. But like he said, we had to walk away and, you know, be able to tell about it. So he played in the NFL and accomplishment that he's made.
Orioles center fielder Adam Jones has a new gig for one night only tonight. Jones was hired as an off-ice official for the San Diego Gulls. Jones has season tickets to the AHL team. Jones will keep track of all the penalties in the hockey game and also open and close the box doors when players make a visit. On the diamond, can Adam Jones call Mark Trumbo a teammate for a few more years? That's at 11:30 on Sports Unlimited.
Why these swimmers didn't need to worry too much swimming so close to those sharks when the news at 10 continues.
A stunning view and swim in Hawaii.
Yeah, this group of swimmers encountering a school of hammerhead sharks. Wow. Experts are not surprised that this pack of scalloped hammerhead sharks swam up and stuck around. They apparently tend to come into shallower waters around this time of year. This type of shark is reportedly not aggressive toward humans and is considered to be safe around divers.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
Pomp, circumstance, and protest as Donald Trump takes the oath of office, becoming America's 45th president.